What a beautiful morning here in Aachen. You know, Aachen has many beautiful sides to it, but sometimes you just want an escape. And the easiest way to get that is to do an exchange if you're a student. And that's exactly what I did this summer when I went to KAIST, South Korea. Let me show you how that went. So this video is about my experiences at KAIST, but it's also kind of a guide for you. I'm trying to show you some of the steps that you might need to take before going to Korea or when you arrive. But I also try to give you an overview of how KAIST works, what the campus is like, how dorm life is going to work out, and some travel tips for the city of Daejeon where KAIST is located. KAIST was founded in 1971 with support of the US government and was designed from ground up to train a new generation of scientists and engineers for the developing Korea. KAIST is now the 91 best university in the world according to the Times Higher Education ranking, and definitely the best university for computer science in Korea. I was an exchange student at KAIST's Kim Chul Graduate School of AI in the first on-site exchange program since the start of the pandemic. I got to spend February to August 2022 on-site in Daejeon at KAIST's main campus. And the structure of the video will be as follows. First I will talk about the things you should do when you're gonna arrive in Korea. Then I will talk about KAIST campus, the general structure of it and how the dormitory system works. Then I will talk about organizational stuff like academics, course registration, classwork, etc. And then finally we'll talk a little bit about exploring Daejeon, which is the city in which KAIST is located at. As you can see, we got a lot to cover, so let's head right into it. So before you go to Korea, one of the first things that you should take care of is to get your visa ready. Most Europeans can stay in Korea actually for up to 3 months without a visa, but KAIST exchange programs are anything between 1 semester and 2 semesters. So you will stay something like 4 months to a year in Korea, and therefore you should, once you receive your letter of acceptance, apply for a D26 visa. And it also will make your life a lot easier because with the visa you will get an ARC, an alien registration card, which you might need for a lot of online services and for identification purposes in general. If you live in Aachen, you can get your visa through mail, through the Korea Visa Application Center in Berlin, or you just make an appointment at the consulate in Bonn. This also holds if you're not a German citizen, so you can, if you're a citizen of another country, you might have to pay different fees, but you can still go there. Every foreigner staying in Korea actually needs one of those ARCs if they stay for more than 90 days. And honestly, it makes your life a lot easier. You can use it to open a bank account, you can use it for identification services, for online shopping, for different apps that might require that of you, and you can link it to your phone number so you can just authenticate yourself with your phone. In general, exchange students are required to sign up for the National Health Insurance Service of Korea, or NHI for short. You will do so automatically if you sign up for your ARC, and you will from that moment on get bills delivered to your home that tell you how much you need to pay every month. You can pay via bank transfer if you have a Korean bank account, or you can just take the bill to a convenience store and pay with cash. If you should have insurance from your home country that already covers expenses in Korea, you can go to the district's health center and tell them that you have the insurance and should improve, and then you can drop out of the National Health Insurance Service and save the monthly fee. If you fly into Korea, you will most likely arrive at Incheon Airport. From there you can go to Seoul with a subway line and then take the KTX, a very fast train from Seoul to Daejeon, or you can take an intercity bus directly from Incheon to Daejeon. I personally recommend taking subway and KTX because they usually have enough capacity so you can just book on the go, but for the buses you might need to reserve in advance. Once you arrive in one of the terminals in Daejeon, the best way to get to KAIST campus is to use KakaoT, Korea's answer to Uber. Basically you just enter your dorm as the destination and a taxi driver will pick you up. And you can pay either with Kakao Pay in the app, but you can also pay with cash or card in the taxi itself. What I wouldn't recommend to you is to take a bus from the terminals to KAIST campus because they're usually quite cramped and they won't stop close to your dorm anyhow, so you will still have to do a lot of walking with your luggage. The most common way to pay for local level public transportation in Korea is to use T-money cards, which are NFC-based smart cards that you can pre-charge at a convenience store and then just spend as you go. T-money cards can actually also be used to pay at vending machines, and they're quite convenient in general to have. However, KAIST will already supply you with one once you arrive, so don't worry about getting one right away. Korea has a very large number of domestic apps that are quite useful to have. The most important one is probably KakaoTalk, the local messaging app that almost all Koreans use. Besides KakaoTalk, there's also KakaoPay, which is Korea's PayPal, but requires a Korean bank account. I already mentioned KakaoT, the local Uber, which I would definitely recommend that you get because taxis in Korea are actually quite affordable. Not only are they affordable, but they're also quite convenient if you're in a group, and with KakaoT you at least save some of the struggle communicating with the taxi driver if you're not fluent in Korean, because you can just set your destination in the app. Because of some restrictions, Google Maps doesn't work well in Korea, so you can use Kakao Map or Naver Map instead. They're both available in English and you can just use them like Google Maps to look at public transportation, reviews for restaurants, etc. I would recommend Kakao Maps if you want to go on a hike, because it has much better support for hiking routes, but in general I like Naver Maps more because it's more similar to Google Maps in how the user interface is designed. KAIST also has a lot of interesting apps that you might want to check out, for example the ID card app, which you can use instead of your actual physical ID card to open doors or speed gates. Besides those apps, there's also KAIST Portal and KLMS, which I will go into detail about later. With your ARC you can open a Korean bank account, which might not be necessary, but definitely handy in some cases, for example if you want to use KakaoPay or do online shopping. Woori Bank is one of Korea's largest banks and they have a branch directly on campus, so you can just go there with your AOC and ask them to open a bank account for you. There are no costs associated with having a bank account, and they will immediately print a card for you that you can use directly. Alternatively, the debit and credit cards from some European providers seem to work quite well. DKB has a credit card that works in most of Korea, and I used Wise. Wise is a service that allows you to convert currency and have accounts in multiple currencies, so you can just directly convert a certain amount of euros to won and then use that to pay locally with the debit card they provide you. That card worked for me in almost all stores and in every taxi that I used. The main campus of KAIST is located in the northern part of Daejeon, in close proximity to another large university, Chungnam National University, in a part of the city called the Daejeon in Nopolis. This part of the city houses many research centers of the Korean government, but also the research centers of a lot of different companies like Samsung. The campus itself is connected but logically split into three parts: north, east and west. Most of the dormitories are located in north and east parts of the campus. As an exchange student, you will most likely be placed in Mir Hall, which is located on the west side of the campus. Classes are spread across campus, or in some cases even hybrid or remote, depending on your department or school. There's also the Seoul campus, which houses part of the Graduate School of AI and the Business School. So especially if you're in the Graduate School of AI, you might end up with hybrid or remote classes. As mentioned before, as an exchange student, you will most likely be placed into Mir Hall. Mir is one of the largest dormitories of KAIST and also one of the newer ones. And unlike the others, it features a private bathroom directly at the room. The rooms are designed for double occupancy and come with one desk, closet and bed for every resident. A sink and a toilet are placed directly at the entrance area, and there's also a shower room. The gym is located at the entrance hall and is open 24/7 for free. And there's also a convenience store that sells everything from juices to soft drinks to chocolate, ramyeon, hygiene products, whatever you might need every evening. Additionally, there's a large lounge located at the entrance with a ramyeon vending machine and a dry cleaner. Finally, there's also some study rooms located in the dorm itself. Once you arrive and tell your dorm advisor that you're about to move in, you will be provided with your welcome package, including your KAIST ID card, which also acts as your room key, and the T-money card that I mentioned before. In it you will also find the payment slip for the dormitory fees. You can take it directly to Woori Bank and pay it with cash. The dormitory fee depends on your assigned dorm, but is around 1,000 euros for 6 months. Once you moved in and paid all the fees, you can download the certificate of residence directly from the KAIST dormitory system and use it to get your ARC later. Eventually, you might want to eat something better than the ramen that you can get in the dorm. So thankfully KAIST has several cafeterias that offer breakfast, lunch and dinner. Prices are a bit higher than at RWTH, but the quality and variety are so much better. My personal recommendation would be KAIST, which is the largest cafeteria and located in the north part of the campus. Not only does it offer different set meals every day, but also features a food court with 5 different restaurants, from traditional Korean to sandwiches to toasts to Chinese. West Cafeteria features 2 different meal sets and a lunch buffet where you can select from around 15 small dishes and assemble your own meal. And East Cafeteria just serves normal meal sets. In addition to the cafeterias, there's a small pizza place, Daejeon, in the International Center, a Lotteria, which is a local burger chain, a Subway, and a doji rock shop. Pulpit Maru, which is located close to KAIST, offers halal food options. Actually the only place where you can get those on campus. After lunch, you will often see large groups of Korean students flock to the various campus cafes in order to get the Korean national drink, the iced Americano. The cafes include Café Pascucci and Café Grazie, right next to the duck pond, the Tea House Ogada in the ACC building, Café Dream in the Mechanical Engineering building, Tom & Tom's Coffee in N1, Café Eat at the International Center, and Café Drop Top in the startup building. So I don't think it will be a problem for you to get your caffeine. Probably the best place to study on campus is the ACC, or Academic and Cultural Complex. It houses a large and modern library, the KAIST gift shop, a makerspace with free access to machine tools and 3D printers, study lounges, and nap pods. There's also TVs that you can use to watch DVDs or shows from your computer on a large screen, and printing centers. There's also the Global Lounge, where events organized by the International Office are held. Other study spaces are located around campus in the various different buildings, including the undergraduate branch library. The Student Center N13 features practice rooms for music and dancing, and there's also a large gym with a bouldering wall located in the middle of campus. Underneath the auditorium, you will find a pool that is also freely accessible. KAIST Clinic provides basic medical facilities for checkups and acute issues at affordable prices too. KAIST has a large number of clubs like the choir Chorus, the tennis club Stroke, the cheerleading club Alka, and the punk band 20 Stream. While you're free to join many of the events and concerts that they offer, it is very likely that you won't be able to join the club itself, especially if you don't speak Korean fluently. Another complication here is that clubs are usually split into graduate and undergraduate clubs, and most clubs are only available for undergraduate students. KAIST Portal is probably the most important website for KAIST students. Most important information and updates are only shared there, and it's also your gateway to resources like the course registration or the grading platform. KLMS is KAIST's e-learning platform and similar to RWTH Moodle. While many courses share at least some information at KLMS, like slides or exercises, my experience shows that most courses also use additional resources like Google Docs or GitHub. Registration for courses opens about 2 months before the start of lectures. Around the same time, the acceptance notifications are sent out. Most classes have limits on the number of people that can join, so deciding on a class early can be beneficial. In the first week before classes, there is a chance to drop out of registered classes and register for other classes again. Within 7 weeks of the start of the semester, students can withdraw from a course without it resulting in a negative grade. One important thing to consider is that you absolutely should take part in the course evaluation, because only then you get the chance to see your grade before it's being finalized. That means if there's an error with your grading, or maybe you have some questions regarding the grading, that is the only chance to see that before it's being finalized and before you can't change anything anymore. So yeah, please do the course evaluation. Graduate level courses at KAIST, at least in the Graduate School of AI, are in general much more project based than in Aachen. The biggest part of the grade is usually a multiple week-long project that you work on in a group. Additionally, it's quite common to read through current papers and present them in class. Final exams might be part of a course, but from my experience, more often than not, they're not a thing. Finally, graduate students are expected to do 9 to 12 credits per semester. That means that you can take up to 4 classes, but most Korean students wouldn't do that. They get most of their credits through research programs. With all that being said, you're probably not going to Korea just to study. In this section of the video, I will be talking about Daejeon, the city in which KAIST is located at, and the things you might be able to do in the areas surrounding KAIST. Located around 130 kilometers south of Seoul and 200 kilometers northwest of Busan, Daejeon is at the center of very important railroad connections, so it's actually quite easy to get around Korea from Daejeon. While many Koreans call the 1.5 million city the most boring city of Korea, I think it's a bit unfair. While Daejeon isn't the sprawling international metropolis that Seoul and Busan are, it has, at least for international students, a lot to offer because it gives you a glimpse into Korean life. Undong and Gungdong are the closest downtown areas to KAIST, with Undong being directly adjacent to KAIST campus. The small gate, Chokmun, or West Gate as many internationals call it, connects the campus to the area of the city and is a quite well-known place to meet up. Undong and Gungdong feature large numbers of restaurants with anything from Korean fried chicken to tonkatsu to Neapolitan-style pizza to Budae jjigae, as well as plenty of bars. Additionally, you can find the Korean version of karaoke, noraebang, in numerous locations. Noraebang is a bit different from the karaoke that we know, because you have the privacy of your own private room, which you only share with your friends. So you can burst out your lungs to your favorite songs. I'm just a kid, our life is a nightmare. Or something like that. Besides noraebang, there's also a lot of arcades, especially in the Rodeo Drive area of Gungdong. There you can try to defeat your friends in Mario Kart or defeat the claw game, if you can. When it comes to partying, the most popular area in Daejeon is probably Dunsan. Dunsan is filled with bars and clubs and has everything you need for a fun night out. If you prefer retreats to nature, Daejeon has a lot to offer as well, being a city that is surrounded by mountains and forest. Gyecheoksan Mountain has a famous red clay path in the northeast of Daejeon, where you can take a barefoot hike on a naturally red clay. Gyeongsang National Park in the northwest of Daejeon is one of Korea's oldest national parks and has stunning views of the surrounding area, waterfalls, and lots of Buddhist temples. KAIST itself is at the banks of the Gum River, which is a great place for a run or walk. Korean department stores are something different, at least when compared to a German Galleria store. They feature rooftop terraces, large and wonderful food courts with amazing food offerings, and a large selection of different stores and products all under one roof. The closest department store to KAIST is Shinsegae's Daejeon branch. Besides the aforementioned stuff, it also features a cinema and an aquarium, and the Expo Tower, which is the tallest building in Daejeon and has a Starbucks on top where you can get an amazing view of the city. Unheungdong and Sojudong are the last areas in Daejeon that I want to talk about. Both of them are located very close to Daejeon Central Station, across the city from KAIST campus. Unheungdong is a great place for shopping. It has many arcades, and there's also the main branch of Sungchimdang, which is probably Korea's most famous bakery. There's also a large underground mall and a wonderful food market where you can explore freshly made food from local farmers and also traditional Korean dishes. Sojudong is located on the opposite side of Daejeon Station and can't be more different. It's an old area that is currently under the process of rejuvenation and revitalization, and there's many small cafes with stunning interior located in those old buildings. Of course, there's much more to do in Korea, especially outside of Daejeon, but that will be part of maybe another video. I think that doing any exchange can be an amazing experience, and I would definitely recommend you to look up the different possibilities that your university offers. You get to experience a different culture, closer and cheaper than you might ever get to again. And of course, you will make lots of new international friends. My KAIST friend Wonbom even made a detour on his Europe trip just to get to Aachen to say hi. So yes, I'll definitely recommend doing an exchange, and I can really recommend KAIST in South Korea. It's a safe place with great food and a very interesting culture and history. I will link some resources for RWTH and German students in general in the descriptions below. And I also understand that this was a lot of information just now. So if you just want to look some stuffs up that I mentioned in the video, I will also put a transcript of what I said here in the description below, so you can read it at your own pace and just use it as a handy guide. Thank you for watching and have a lovely day.